This is our weekly catch-up video looking at what's been going on with the gold and the oil price and the levels to watch if you're trading it in the days ahead. Hello, I'm David Jones. This is the weekly video that I do with Capital.com where we catch up with gold and oil. These are two interesting markets, and I think gold in particular is one that is well worth watching in the next sort of couple of weeks or so, because I'm wondering if we're seeing something of a shift in terms of sentiment. We've seen the price of gold, slide fairly heavily over the last couple of months, but it's hit a level that did end up being an important level last year. And the question is the same thing going to happen again? So let's take a look at the chart and see what that level is. So I think the big question for the days ahead is gold on the turn. We've got this big picture chart here. We've seen this decline in gold. So this chart goes back over the last 12 months or so. But I want to pick up on the highs that we saw in April of this year, where the price of gold traded above 1360, matching the highs from January in this year. Then we've seen the market sell off, and we've got a good downtrend in place. We've been breaking support. The market's been moving lower. But what's interesting is what's happened over the last 3 or 4 days. We had these old lows left from December, around about $12.35 an ounce. And since then, we saw this big rally up into the end of 2017. And we're back down at these levels. So the question is a level that proved to be a major turning point in the past about to do the same thing again? And it's that 12.35 mark. Let me just zoom in. What also, I think, adds maybe a bit of weight to a more positive performance from here. Earlier, we had, this is the daily candle, so a few days ago, we had, this is known as bullish engulfing. So when the candle engulfs the previous day's candle going in the other direction. So it's traditionally, when looking at candlestick charts, it's seen as a significant change in sentiment. Okay, it's only one day, but I think it's interesting that it happened just ahead of that old low. So 12.35, the big level to watch. If gold is going to build some sort of a base here, if we see any weakness, which is completely possible from where we're trading now, we should see those 12.35 lows. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch, I think. Let's take a look on the shorter term chart. So we're looking here at a 4-hour chart. So each candle represents 4 hours worth of trading. Trends do take usually a long time to turn around. So even though we've seen this positive day this week, let's not get too carried away that we're going to see gold at $1,350 an ounce anytime soon. We've obviously got a downtrend in place, but you can see how quickly it did reverse off these levels. So I think it does enforce 12.35 as the one to watch. It was very oversold for quite some time on the 4-hour chart, and finally we got a bounce. So I think the question for gold is the worst of the slide behind us? It should be an interesting few weeks, I think. So I think it's really interesting how we've seen it bounce off that level. Plus we had such a strong bounce, that bullish engulfing candlestick, although that trend is still down. This has only been a few days since we've seen strength ahead of sort of 12.35, but it remains an interesting one to take a look at. The price of oil has quietened down a bit over the past week. The main headline grabbing news has been, maybe not surprisingly, President Trump on Twitter suggesting that OPEC are pushing up and artificially inflating the oil price. And Iran has struck back and said that actually President Trump's tweets are having more of an impact on the price going up. The oil market hasn't really done that much in the last couple of days, but it's been an interesting diversion. What is interesting though for oil is the fact we are still within this trend that's seen the price rise by more than 50% since last summer. It recently touched fresh multi-year highs. So as usual, the question is the trend going to continue? Let's take a look at the chart for oil. Here's our chart for the price of oil going back to last summer. It's been an incredible performance. The price was, in the mid-40s back then, and we've recently traded above $73. It's a really clear trend in the price of oil. Saying that though, it has struggled. You can see it when it punched out through these old highs from May. we haven't really seen any follow through, looking a little bit overextended maybe, and down here on the daily RSI also poked into overbought, and it's given up some of those gains. But what would be interesting would be if we saw it sell off from here. That trend is still intact. So there's this whole zone from these lows at what, $63.30 through to maybe the 67 area. So 63.5 to 67 is still really big support for the price of oil. And I think it's only if it starts to slip below here does it start to look as if this, what is it now, nearly 11-month trend in oil is over. So for now, it's looking in the short term maybe a little bit overheated. But as we've seen all the way up, any weakness in the price of oil has ended up being a buying opportunity since last summer. And I think as long as $63 hold, then that trend is still up. If we lose 63, then it does start to look a bit more interesting if you've got a negative view on oil, because it looks like clearly that uptrend is over and we can start targeting, a much deeper sell-off, initially down maybe below $60. But for now, 63, really big support, and that trend definitely still up. So up in the 70s, it's maybe looking a little bit overheated, but it doesn't change that big picture view. Yeah, that trend from the summer of last year, and it would take a fall below $63, to change that major trend. So for now, it's been a quiet few days, but it's pretty much, I think, business as usual for the price of oil. We'll start wrapping things up there. As usual, if you like the video, please click on the thumbs up down there to never miss out on the videos we produce. And also on a Wednesday, we've started doing a live market update via YouTube from 12:30 Wednesday lunchtime UK time. So to never miss out on that, the live update, and also the videos that we upload on a daily basis, make sure you're subscribed to the channel by clicking on subscribe. And if you click the alarm bell notification icon, you get automatically notified whenever we upload a video and when we go live on a Wednesday. But for this week, looking at gold and oil, that's it from me, David Jones, and Capital.com. So we'll leave it there, and I hope you have a good trading week.